Rents have been rising fast recently, creating hardship for Ohioans who are surviving on wages that aren't keeping up. Between 2009 and 2021, median household incomes in Ohio rose just 6%, while the average rent for a two-bedroom apartment in the state's 5 biggest counties increased between 15 and 18%. That's compared to hikes of 6 to 10% the 2 years prior. Kaci Philpot is with the Tenant Advocacy Project at the Legal Aid Society of Columbus.
We're going to find a lot of families and individuals who are faced with a housing crisis, whether it be staying with family or living on the streets or in shelters, because they don't have the income to qualify for any of these rental units.
Over 44,000 renter households in Ohio have incomes at or below the poverty threshold, according to the National Low-Income Housing Coalition. Many are already severely cost-burdened, meaning they spend more than half their income on rent. Don Brunner with the Columbus Apartment Association explains the CDC's pandemic-era eviction moratorium made it harder for landlords to make their own ends meet. He adds that when demand for housing is high but supply is low, the price goes up.
We need to produce roughly 340,000 new units a year across the country to keep up with demand, and we've only done that a couple of times in the last 10 years. So there's always been less new units than what the demand is.
Over one-third of U.S. renters have incomes below $30,000. A Harvard study suggests having children, being out of the labor force, and being a person of color are associated with a higher housing cost burden. Other research suggests Black single mothers are more likely to be evicted. At Community Legal Aid's Neighborhood Law Project in Akron, managing attorney John Petit says that's who appears to be seeking more assistance.
It breaks my heart because it does feel like they're being targeted more.
In Akron and Columbus, housing rights activists and legal aid organizations helped renters form tenants unions. Director of Organizing and Advocacy with the Northwest Ohio Coalition for the Homeless, Josiah Quarles, says the goal is to advocate for renter-friendly policies and minimize rent increases.
There's always a power difference between landlord and tenants. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. But when people feel empowered by the others within that power dynamic, it can tip the scales back to a little closer to people.
Meanwhile, Ohio House Bill 622, still in committee, would provide legal representation to some tenants facing eviction, and Cleveland and Toledo created right-to-counsel ordinances which provide attorneys to extremely low-income tenants. This story was produced with original reporting from Jayla Forrest at Kent State University. This collaboration is produced in association with Meeting the Public Interest and funded in part by the George Gunn Foundation. For Ohio News Connection, I'm Mary Sherman. Find our trust indicators to support transparency and accuracy at publicnewsservice.org.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mooney. Welcome to what is our new Hope Interrupted podcast based on the work from our book, Hope Interrupted, that I co-authored with my good friend Byron McCauley.
Hey, Jennifer, I'm looking forward to this podcast as much as I was looking forward to writing this book with you. We hope to interview some high-impact folks as well as have a little fun.
We're going to cover stories of hope. To learn more about our podcast and our book, please visit www.hopeinterrupted.com.